meeting of the WSESU will come to order. This meeting is a hybrid meeting, which means that
Recording in progress.
Of the public body is meeting remotely and some are meeting physically in a previously noticed location where the public may attend to observe, listen, and participate contemporaneously. Please note that while we will strive to provide means for those attending remotely to participate in the public comment period, there may be technical difficulties or reasons that otherwise prevent or interrupt remote public participation. Therefore, it is important to note that the open meeting law only ensures the public's right to participate and comment at a public meeting by attending at the designated physical location as posted in the notice and agenda. If a member of the public or the public body has technical difficulties accessing this meeting remotely, please alert us by email. In the event of a technical difficulty that cannot be resolved, we may continue the meeting if necessary for time and place certain. Please note that all votes taken during this meeting that are not unanimous will be done by roll call in accordance with the law. Good evening, everybody, and thank you very much for your patience. We are ready to get going, and I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So made.
Thank you, Tim. Any additions, deletions, corrections? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. The minutes are approved. And moving on to finance.
Okay, so we have the proposed budget before you. Everyone have a hard copy? Very good. So this should be fairly familiar to you. Over the last several weeks, we have reviewed each of the components of the supervisory union budget. So that's the instruction, administration, transportation, in that first segment on the summary document. And maybe Paul, share, am I set up to share screen? I'll do that. Let's see. Oh, yeah, so we gotta go up here. Okay, there we go. So, yeah, okay, so we're looking at the summary document here that you have a hard copy of. I've got it up on the screen as well. This is the same summary document that we reviewed last week at our previous meeting. The fiscal year 25 proposal, $30,541,647. That's down 7% from the current budget of $32,851,000. The service areas there that you see on our summary document, 4 service areas. The largest, of course, is our special education programs for both school age and pre-K. The proposal there you see on the expenditure side, $19,003,000. And then we have the administration supportive instruction. So you, I'm sure, recall that includes our ELL learners and our curriculum and assessment, our diversity equity program, inclusion, and then transportation. So you see that proposal there, and we discussed the restructuring associated with the curriculum office. And then we also have discussed the food service here toward the bottom of this document, as well as our grant funded programs. And that's, you know, the big story across the state in terms of fiscal planning is the grants, as you see, substantially lower in this proposed year because of the ending of the pandemic support. So going from 7.8 million down to 3.2 million in the grant programs. Maybe as another reminder, we talked about having 18 positions primarily funded through ESSER in the current budget. And the proposed budget, of course, is no ESSER funded positions. because the grant doesn't exist. But fortunately, we will continue with our Title I, Title IIA, and the IDEA grants that does employ some folks. Total staffing behind this proposal is relatively stable. 193 what we call full-time equivalents in this budget, and we got it. When I say this budget, fiscal year 24 ending in June, and then we have 193 positions as well in the proposed budget. So essentially a level staff as we transition away from that federal funding. So a couple more reminders. We discussed the allocation methodology, so I have that here, and then maybe a quick point, because we didn't look at a single package until we finished the review last meeting, but on the front page here, on the far right-hand side of the document, you see the page number references. So, yeah, if you'd like to look at any segment of the report in a much more detailed fashion, you can do that. So, for example, if you wanted to see the larger spending commitments, special education, locally funded, that's on page 27. You can see that's $16,917,000. We would turn to the detail. And one more point of reference. We got 2 page number references. One is for the whole document, and that is what the little table of contents is referring to. The other page reference is gonna come out from the accounting system, and you can just ignore that or use it if you wish. But the page number references are here at the bottom in what would be considered a portrait format, right? So you'll see we've got the Adobe page number there for any reference. These are the same proposals that we've reviewed over the last several weeks, as I say. Fortunately, we didn't get any significant requests for revisions that sometimes happen, particularly with our families moving in, moving out. But that's remained reasonably stable, and we got no new news from the Agency of Ed regarding a change in funding. So the funding assumptions, the biggest single item that we have, we did discuss it at the last meeting. I'll just turn to page 7 as a sort of a reminder. You'll see the largest number on the page. It's in the middle there, the FY25 estimated special ed aid. It's the census block grant, $5,806,000. This current year, it's $5,009,000. So it's down a little bit, but it's not a material amount given that level of funding, and that is based on these average attendance statistics. They're not a weighted statistics, just a straight count that the Agency of Ed provides us. So with any spending plan at the SU, we identify both the site and then the program costs, and then we deduct any kind of revenue source, obviously, so that when we derive an assessment, it's a break even at the SU level. Obviously, we're not a taxing entity, so we have to take spending minus any other state aid equals an unassessed amount, and then that's how we balance our books. Page 19 of the detail package. It's a summary document of the special ed program. We generally do derive that and provide it as we did last year. It's just a 4-page summary of the more detailed special education proposal, and what you see, actually it starts on page 19. I'll scroll to it here as well. Structure, a couple more pages. There we are. This is the special ed summary document. As I was saying, it identifies special ed costs by site. The first page of data is the locally funded. So when we go to the assessment sheet and you look at how we allocate costs, that 16,719, it's on the summary page. It's also in a number of other places that identifies how we allocate those costs back to the districts. And then, so that's page 20, the total. And then you have the grant-funded special education services on page 20. Again, we've reviewed all of this data in our previous meetings, and we have fortunately not had to make any revisions. So I think that's what I had in mind as far as our kind of a refresher, and administration is recommending the board make a motion and approve the fiscal year 25 Windham Southeast Supervisory Union budget in the amount of $30,541,647 for fiscal year 25.
Questions? Do I hear a motion?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move that the board vote to approve the FY25 WSESU budget as presented in the amount of $30,541,647.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed or abstentions? And we are approved.
Super.
Thank
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
But
Oh,
can I ask a question? It might be the wrong time to ask it, but first, great job as always, Frank. But we always strive to be better, and the schools have goals, the board has goals, superintendent has goals. Looking back at this long, tedious, excellent process, what in the coming year, what would you strive for to make the budget even better? For example, should we be striving for less expenditures for admin versus direct instruction, or strive for even more grants, or what are some goals that you might have?
Well, we always want as many grants as we can get.
Sure.
But I think it always starts at the student level. And what does the student need, and how can we develop our budgets to be a reflection of that? The things I'm proud of in this budget are through ESSER, we made investments into some additional ELL teachers to support more students moving into our school district, which is something to celebrate. So this budget supports ESSER-funded positions in the ML department plus an additional ML position. This budget also supports pre-K development, and a goal for us, as you've heard recently, is we want to develop pre-K access to Bracktown schools.
Okay.
So this is a budget that reflects really nice development and forward thinking in those programs, as well as funding a diversity coach, which was ESSER funded, but we've seen the benefits of the growth in that position, in that department. So this budget supports that as well. So,
But in the year ahead, next year, what do you hope to be even better?
well, these are the things we're investing in to support next year's development. And as we learn more and support our students, we'll develop more goals. But I think this is a forward-thinking budget that supports development of systems that support our kids.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'd only add, I think, that's really well said. I'd only add that, statutorily, the supervisory union, it structurally is a service agency, right? It's, as Mark just articulated, the board goals at the district level drive the programs at the SU level. By statute, we must offer special education services through the SU, transportation through the SU, food service through the SU. Those are statutory requirements. So there's not a lot of autonomy in budget development, and as Mark articulated really well, it's very much to meet student needs, and that comes from the goals that are established at the district level, board and admin teams.
Okay, one more question, if I may. In the district budget that you gave us, you have this wonderful pie chart. The unit of analysis is always the district. That's the way it is across Vermont. But I've been reading stuff about perhaps advantages in using the school-based analysis. There are some things that are not quite possible because expenditures for transportation, food, special ed, of course, are district-wide. But do you see an advantage to show the district the equity that I know you always strive for in expenditures, and compared to the outcomes in schools? Do you see next year the possibility of doing a school unit analysis, a pie chart like this, so we can see how, for example, expenditures are versus direct instruction for Guilford versus Dummerston?
So it is very much in the SD budget. We do all of our planning and presenting of the information by school site, so that the data is readily available by school site. And the Curriculum Assessment Office talked a lot about having outcomes, very, very evident in the budget planning, as Mark just stated as well. It does start with how well are our third graders reading, what programs do we need to identify that we improve upon, the areas where we are not where we hope to be. And the budget very much reflects that at the school site level.
Oh, it's in the budget for sure. The information is there, but it would be convenient for everybody to have a pie chart for school by school so we can compare.
Yeah, something like that, though, I don't think a pie chart is going to help articulate it. It would maybe more like maybe a bar chart, because you want to show a level of investment that's associated with a student need. And too often, but it is still a prevailing measure, student need is often in part defined by socioeconomic status, as we know. And so a bar chart could show socioeconomic status and then the investment. And then you're now also asking for outcome data. And I think we used to publish a very extensive school report. I think we're moving back toward that. I don't think Bryn is here, but I know she's working with Paul on that. And again, yeah, we do expect to see more school site-based outcome data, graduation rates, but SAT scores, proficiency in literacy and math and sciences, and a number of the outcomes. So, but putting it into one chart, outcomes, spending, and student need, that's challenging to make it a clear picture for somebody to absorb.
Okay, thank you very much.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Carrie.
there being no further business before this board, I move we adjourn.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? And we are adjourned at 5:31. Thank you very much, everyone.